Officially, Alcatraz closed because it was too expensive to maintain. But former guards say that wasn't the real reason. They say Alcatraz was shut down because it had already done what it was built to do. Alcatraz sits in the middle of San Francisco Bay, less than 2 miles from shore, so close that on quiet nights, prisoners could hear music, laughter, and life drifting across the water. Freedom was always within earshot, and that was intentional. When the federal prison opened in 1934, Alcatraz was not meant to rehabilitate criminals. It was meant to contain the ones the system couldn't control, men labeled as violent, defiant, or psychologically unmanageable. Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, Robert Stroud. But behind the public image of America's toughest prison was something darker. Alcatraz wasn't just a prison. It was a psychological pressure chamber. Every detail was designed to strip inmates down mentally. Tiny cells, constant surveillance, rigid silence. Prisoners were told they had only 4 rights: food, clothing, shelter, and medical care. Everything else, including human connection, was a privilege that could be taken away instantly. And the worst place on the island wasn't the cell house. It was D-Block. D-Block was solitary confinement, and at the far end of it were cells inmates called the Hole. Pitch black, freezing cold, minimal food. Men were locked inside for weeks, sometimes longer. Former inmates later described hallucinations, voices, shapes in the dark, and the feeling of being watched. Instead of stopping this, guards documented it. Years later, historians noticed something unsettling. The psychological effects reported at Alcatraz closely matched techniques later used in classified government programs, especially early sensory deprivation research tied to MKUltra. Officially, there is no record of MKUltra experiments at Alcatraz, but Alcatraz offered something perfect for testing psychological limits: total isolation, total authority, and no public oversight. Then there were the deaths. Several inmates died inside Alcatraz under natural causes: heart failure, illness, suicide. But records were vague. Autopsies incomplete. Some files missing entirely. One inmate, held in the Hole, reportedly screamed nightly about a presence in his cell. Guards ignored him until one night, the screaming stopped. He was found dead the next morning. No injuries. No struggle. The official report listed the cause of death as undetermined. After incidents like this, guards began reporting strange activity. Footsteps in empty cell blocks, cell doors vibrating on their own. Sudden cold spots. Some guards refused to patrol certain areas alone. One later admitted that parts of the prison felt crowded, even when empty. In 1962, the most famous escape in American history took place. Frank Morris and brothers, John and Clarence Anglin, disappeared into the night. The government claimed they drowned, but no bodies were ever found. And after the escape, guards reported something disturbing. 4 weeks, night patrols heard movement inside the cell house. Whispers. Soft humming. One guard said he heard someone quietly breathing in an empty cell. He requested a transfer soon after. In 1963, Alcatraz was suddenly shut down. The public explanation was cost, saltwater corrosion, aging buildings, but internal documents show repairs had already been planned and funded. So why close it? Former staff believe Alcatraz had become dangerous not structurally, but politically. Too many deaths. Too many psychological breakdowns. Too much documentation. And too many people who had seen what prolonged isolation really did to the human mind. When the last guards left the island, several reported the same feeling. Alcatraz did not feel empty. It felt aware. Today, Alcatraz is a tourist attraction. Families walk through the cell blocks. Cameras flash. Audio guides tell sanitized stories. But visitors still report sudden anxiety, anger, and despair, especially in D-Block. Some hear whispers. Others see shadow figures standing inside cells. Psychologists call it suggestion. Former inmates call it memory. Because Alcatraz didn't just hold prisoners, it absorbed them. And when the fog rolls over San Francisco Bay, Some swear they can still hear metal doors closing, not to lock prisoners inside, but to make sure the island's secrets never escape. If this video creeped you out, hit that like button before the feeling fades. Leave a comment and tell me what part you won't stop thinking about. And subscribe, because once you start watching, these stories tend to follow you.